Well, in that case, I think we just get started and jump right in. Thank you all for joining us. I think we just go. Loïc, I'm going to start with you on the far end. We're here to talk about frontier AI, frontier firms. I want you to kind of define that idea for us. From the point of view of Microsoft, how do you define that term? What kind of makes a frontier leader?
Yeah, thank you, Chris. So I'm leading the customer success organization for Microsoft France, and so we are working very much on that with our customers. And so you heard a lot this word frontier. To make it super simple, a frontier firm is basically an AI leader, and these AI leaders, they are transforming themselves with agentic AI. And so for these firms, what they want to do basically is to pioneer a model where human and AI collaborate to push the boundaries of innovation and performance. And the real point here is that what they do, basically, is they do not limit themselves to using AI to automate tasks. They drive a profound transformation of their business model and their company culture to redefine roles and their business processes to achieve more things, and so internally and externally. And that's basically the definition. And what we see is that these firms, in terms of ROI, they deliver 3 times, these frontier firms, they achieve 3 times higher ROI than the laggards, let's say, in terms of AI, with a 2.8 ROI, 2.8 multiple on their AI investments. And this ROI, basically, it's threefold. You have all the value out of the individual use cases, the value you get out of organization and team use cases, and the value you get out of innovative use cases, business processes redefinition at the company level. And that's a journey to go there, and I'm super glad we have also Audrey and Pablo to share their experience about this journey.
Okay, Audrey, to you, just very briefly, for those who might not know, what is Groupe, Pierre, and Vacances? Is that as fun to work at as it might sound like? And where was the company when it started on its AI journey?
So, hi everyone. Groupe Pierre et Vacances Center Parcs is a hospitality and leisure company. We operate across Europe. It's 3,000 destinations, 4 brands, 2 billion of turnover, and we have 13,000 employees. We started this journey with a humble approach, let's say. We really started, so not on technology, but rather focusing on people. It all started from the XCOM, so it's a transformation that is really driven from the top. And we started by creating a pioneer club, regrouping 200 employees that we trained and that we meet with every week so that we can talk about how they would use generative AI in their day-to-day and really creating this emulation and this energy around how we can use it. And then we started to deploy, let's say, broader approach for all the employees, giving them access to a secured GPT-like system. And finally, we created a GenAI studio to be able to implement really use cases, more advanced use cases, really transforming the processes in the company.
And same question for you, Pablo. Is there Alstom I'm a little more familiar with? Is there a specific area you work with, and where were you when you started on the AI journey?
Yeah, hello, thanks for inviting. So Alstom, for those that don't know us, we are the global leader in the mobility, sustainable mobility. We are mostly delivering solutions for the railway sector. You know our TGVs, high-speed trains, but also metros and all the digital solution that goes around. We are able to operate that. And when we talk about AI, the idea is that we have a mission is to make the journeys greener, smarter. And AI is playing a pivotal role, a strategic role on that strategy, in the sense that we didn't start it a couple of years ago when GPT arrived, mostly for the preventive maintenance operations. We are doing that for several years already, able to optimize the energy of our trains, and in the end, able to improve the passenger journey. So AI is just, the arrival of generative AI is just the continuation of what we have been doing for the last 10 years. And the idea right now is to make sure that our internal employees are able to grasp this opportunity and be augmented either process or end-to-end capabilities.
So, Loïc, I want to stay with this framework to have you set us up a little bit here. So one of the big questions is how these companies like this go from using these tools, from starting with productivity to deeper transformation. So from the point of view of someone like Microsoft, how do you see that journey happening?
That's a super interesting question, and actually what we really see with all our customers, and it was exemplified by Audrey and Pablo, it's everybody starts with individual use cases, individual usage. And that's super fine. So first, you need a secure place so that all your employees, all the people in the organization can play with it safely. Without data leakage, etc. And second, it's a moment where all your employees, they will get acculturated to the AI, to the Gen AI, and to the way you can interact with it and what you can do with it. And with that, they will have bigger ideas on what you can do for the organization, so for their team, for their organization, their department, or for the company in terms of what you get out of it. Once you're there, it's a company project. So it's something you need to have an AI-first driven, AI-first strategy where you will start with the real stakes of your company, a business challenge, a business objective, or if it's for an organization, a KPI, a process KPI you want to improve. Start with a real thing, and then with GenAI, you will be able, with your folks, to figure out what's the best way to tackle this issue, and you will get the ROI in the end because you started with a real thing for your organization. And that's the process we see our frontier customers following. And for that, you need a strong exec sponsor, a strong governance to drive that for the company, and that will be the person accountable for choosing the right topics. Because individual use cases, it's empowerment for all your people. The organization and company-wide use cases is driven by the exec sponsors and by the different leaders of the company. And to get there, so a strong strategy, AI-first strategy. Of course, there is a change management piece and a change of culture piece that you need to implement. And there is a security and trust layer. Maybe we'll get back to that.
So, Audrey, you started to talk a little bit about where you started. Can you give some examples then about how that looked from the ground level in terms of actual experiences or projects that you actually started to put into place?
So for our Center Parcs and Pierre Vacances sites, we have deployed an AI concierge that supports our frontline operators into the questions that they get from the customers when they travel with us. So we managed to automate more than 90% of the answers to the questions that the customer ask on our WhatsApp on each site. So it used to be a frontline operator that would answer to the question. So it would take like 2 or 3 hours for the customer to get a very simple answer like what time does the Aquamundo open or close, for instance. And now the customer gets the answer instantly, and it frees up a lot of time to our frontline people so that they can actually interact with the customers when they come and meet at the reception, for instance. So that's the first example. Another example is for the housekeeping. So as I was saying, we operate in Europe, and we have many different nationalities working with us, and so people that speak very different languages. And we used to do the housekeeping briefing every morning in the language that is spoken on the park, so it could be Dutch, it could be French, it could be German, etc., knowing that most of the people would not understand the briefing. So we've developed an application that automatically translate the briefing, and as it is very light on each worker's phone, so that they can actually understand the briefing. And of course, it's a huge improvement in the relationship, in the experience at work, and it's also a huge improvement on the quality of the housekeeping processes.
Pablo, same question to you. Obviously, different companies, so different processes, different technologies, different business models. But in terms of deployments, what have you seen early on? What projects have you found notable?
I think we need to understand also where we are playing. We are playing Alstom on the safety critical environment. So railway is something that is very much safety regulated and compliant. So applying Gen AI to the operation of a railway is still not at the level that we expect. So we need to understand. We have, first of all, augmented our employees with the co-pilots. So we went to a specific population, our software developers. GitHub Copilot allow us to get between 8 to 10% of productivity globally. And then we have augmented end-to-end processes for a specific population, legal, HR, procurement. So that's mostly internally where we are trying to bring AI every day to our own employees. And then we will go more to the railway product. I already mentioned preventive maintenance, predictive, and energy optimization is something that we already are able to provide that to our customers. But when we talk to the front line, we are applying what is called smart troubleshooting. So we are able to understand the logs of the train. So there is a lot of sensors. The train at the end is sending a lot of data to the ground. And with that data, we're able to help our troubleshooters in order to minimize the response time whenever there is a failure or an incident that is coming. So that's something that we apply. It's not safety critical, but we are able to augment our operation through that.
Loïc, I want to talk about ROI now. I think anybody here has probably followed the big MIT study that came out this summer that caused a lot of buzz, obviously. I want to talk about how you guys view that, how Microsoft measures that, and what you're seeing. When you start to measure this stuff at scale, what are kind of the important things to think about? Obviously, you hear one thing, but then people obviously are putting it in place, and you hear success stories like this. So what are some of the key things to think about in terms of, how to measure that and some of the benchmarks?
So that's also a great question, and that's a question we get a lot, of course. I think we're now past the hype curve, and so everybody is asking, okay, I've invested in AI, so what's the ROI for me? Back to what we said just before, so the frontier firms are achieving a higher ROI, and when you look at the three parts, so individual use cases, team and organization use cases, and the company-wide use cases, what we see basically is that it's even. It's 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. Why? You have tons of individual use cases, but with a low individual value, but you multiply by a big number. Organization and team use cases, the things you will develop with mostly citizen dev, so with platforms like Copilot Studio, these kind of things where you empower your users to do their agents, to connect to the enterprise data, etc. themselves, because they know what are the real use cases on the field. That is 1/3 of the value. And the last piece is all the innovation. So actually, Audrey exemplified all this team work at team level. Pablo exemplified on the innovation piece, so the third tier. When you start to implement with your developers, you can really gain productivity and you are able to innovate faster. And that's also a place, one of the patterns we see now is that if you start to code agents and to really harvest the proprietary data of your company, then you have tons of places where you can really monetize your data. That's a topic we had during the digital transformation phases 10 years ago. How do I monetize my data, etc.? Now you can really do it, and we see companies starting to really do it and to have some services that they sell to their customers based on the data they have and all the expertise and the knowledge capital they have in the company. One example, two examples with Total, it's public. They have one example about purchasing. the purchasing department, they do optimize all the purchase above 50K, but under 50K, it's a place where they cannot scale. So they used an agent to equip their employees to be better at purchasing under 50K. And they expect a 10% saving on these purchases. Second example, on maintenance, still at Total, they developed an agent to increase the quality of identifying the failure root causes on maintenance, on the drill platforms, etc. And there they increased by, they reduced by 25 to 45% the defects in identifying the failure root cases, which translates into real ROI. And this is where you save the money and the value, because they started with all this phase with individual use cases and acculturating their people, and then starting to think about, okay, what are the real stakes, the real things, the real problems we want to solve, and then use solution with AI, but not thinking, okay, maybe it's fun to do that, or it's a wow use cases. Okay, start with the real things that matters for the company or the organization.
Okay, Pablo, I'm going to jump to you first on this one. At this point, with the projects you're describing for your company, are there clear KPIs, OKRs, whatever, that you can point to and say, okay, these are the benchmarks, we've hit this ROI on these projects now?
The ROI is a tricky question because we are all looking for the productivity, and there's this productivity dilemma. I mean, where is this productivity going to be used? But what we use at Alstom is at a very strict 3 levels approach. So first of all, we have the qualitative assessment, so the answer for the survey, what is the user expecting the AI solutions are helping them. Then we have quantitative, we try to use exactly on the logs and so far. And then what we do is an A/B testing, so we try to have on a specific process 2 teams, A team, B team, with and without the AI product, and we compare on the field what are the real benefits of that implementation. So it's a very kind of factual 3-way approach.
Audrey, same question.
Yeah, we do have the same approach. I wanted to give a few examples of use cases that has been very interesting in terms of ROI in different aspects. And to your point, when we start to really rethink the processes and to add agents into our architecture or use cases, we have completely rebuilt the way we manage claims at the contact center to automate completely the claim process with different agents that GenAI agents that communicate together, and that has allowed us to answer to 30 times more to the claims that we received. So he really unlocked the capacity of the team to tackle the claim. So the KPI that we measure here is the NPS, and hopefully increasing the number of people that will return with us, because you know that a customer that is unhappy, when you solve the issue, then he becomes a very loyal and engaged customer. So that's one. The second one is more on the marketing side. So we are using GenAI to really rethink the way we produce marketing campaigns. We use GenAI to optimize the subject line that we use in the email that we send. We have increased the conversion rate by 2 points doing that. And we have launched some marketing campaigns that have been very, very successful, allowing our customers to actually generate bedside stories for the kids. So you enter some information about your family, etc., and what kind of experience you would like to have with Center Parcs, and then it generates a story for your kid, and it has been amazing in terms of return. Something I wanted to add is that the experience that what we've discovered working on all these topics is that beyond the immediate ROI, it's really a transformation driver, and it really forces us to look at the mess And I think it's very powerful in big companies like ours, because we tend to focus on what works, and that's okay. But now, when we want to automate things, I mean, one step further, we need to look at the mess. We need to rethink our processes. We need to really think about how we document things. Is the data okay? We're trying to automate the IT support right now, and it has been incredible, the discussion that I had with my team around what we want to do in terms of IT support, how we rethink level 1, level 2, level 3. Do we have the right documentation? Can we push this further to really document all the expertise that we have within the IT team? So it's really a great opportunity, I think, to go further.
We have to let that be the last word. I'm getting the high sign from our organizers. I want to thank all three of you for being here and taking their time. And please give everybody a nice round of applause. And good news for you, I'm doing the next panel, so you get me for a little bit longer.
Thank you.
Thank you.